Hey guys, it's Mr. Bosher, and today we're going to talk about a few vocabulary words and just try to get comfortable with them. Okay? So, before I get into that though, I just want to let you know, as it says at the top of the screen, grades have been updated. So check your Skywords and see if you're in a great spot. Some of you are doing perfect. You're doing exactly what you did last year. You're getting work in. Quizzes look great. Keep doing what you're doing. Some of you, I think, have forgotten how things worked last year, and all I'm going to say is we need to figure it out. Okay? Not going to call anybody out, but you know me. If you're not getting your work in, I'm not going to change your grade until you do your end of the work. Now, if you need help from me to finish that work, then reach out, and I'll help you with that. But I'm not just going to hand out free grades to hand out free grades. Okay? So, if you need help, and that's why we're not getting assignments done, let me know. I'll see what I can do from home. But if we're just not doing it to not do it, that doesn't fly from last year. So let's get our act together. Another thing I noticed is that some of you either didn't know you had multiple attempts on the quiz, or you ran out of time to use your multiple attempts on the quiz. And because of that, your quiz grades are bringing down your grades. So I'm going to extend the due date for the quiz until Friday at midnight. And remember that you do have 3 attempts. Now, most of you have used your first one. So make sure that, before you use your next 2, you're prepared. So if you looked at this test and you're like, oh man, I was not ready for this, take that Canvas page that I made on, I believe it was Thursday, and use that to help you study, right? The 2 things I said was you could use that GIM kit, which was okay, or what I would probably prefer you do is that you look at your old assignments and say, can I do every question out of these assignments? Right? And don't sit there and do all 10 questions from like the finding distance assignment, but do both question types. Right? So just say, can I answer one of each question type from each assignment? If you can do that and you're pretty good at that, then you'll do great on the quiz, as you probably saw, right? It's very similar to your homework. So study for that, finish that. You have until Friday. I'll do another grade check this weekend. But again, if you're struggling and that's why we're not finishing things, let me know. Okay, and I'll try to figure it out. But until you communicate that with me, there's not much I can do, and your grades aren't going to change until I get that work. So just as a heads up. And emails will be sent tomorrow for those of you that need to. So that's another heads up, because you guys know how this worked last year. If I need to get parents involved, I'll get parents involved. So let's try to get that done so that I don't have to keep doing that. All right, now that the grades and the sort of, me being a downer is out of the way, let's move on to what we actually have to learn. It's very quick, it's very simple, which is the good news. So hopefully I got a short video for you guys today. And it's just because we've learned 5 vocabulary words. Okay, and what do they mean in geometry? Why do we have to do this? Well, because in our upcoming unit, I might use these words, you may have to use these words for answers, and you may have to use them in discussions. Or I may use them as like in the video discussions. So we need to know what we're talking about, right? If I start throwing out words and you don't know them, it's going to be hard to learn everything else that's related. So we're just going to get really good at these 5 words. So yeah, that's the plan. So first thing is a definition. You've probably heard the word definition before. That's a pretty easy one. But I'm just here to tell you what is the specific wording or the key words to know when something is a definition. All right. So let's look at what it says. It says that a definition is a formal statement that describes what a term is. Cool. The main thing you need to take from that is going to be formal statement. Okay? If you're not sure if something is a definition or not, you need to look for the key word, formal statement. Alright? That's how you know you have a definition. Simple as that. Moving on to the next one. Conjecture. A conjecture is a statement that may be true, but has never been proven. Basically, you have an idea, or you noticed a pattern, right? And we've done a lot of this in our classes. But you notice that, like, maybe at the thinking question at the beginning of the day, there's some sort of pattern, right? But you're not really sure how to portray that pattern yet. You're not really sure how to prove to me that there is a pattern. So what you do is you come up with a conjecture, right? This is my guess as to what's happening, but I can't really prove to you that it's happening. But I can notice that it's there, right? So that would be a conjecture. It's when we have an idea that something is going on, but we haven't really fully convinced ourselves yet. All right? So what are the keywords there to know when you have a conjecture? First thing is that it may be true. We look at it, we notice something, but we're not convinced. Right? We're not 100% convinced. And why are we not convinced? Because it's never been proven. There's no proof that it's true all the time. Okay? So you know you have a conjecture if you have something that might be true, but you can't prove it. Right? We're not 100%, and we also can't prove it. Alright? So how does that differ from a postulate? Well, let's see. A postulate is a statement that is accepted as true without proof. Okay? Big difference here. It's already accepted as true. Right? Instead of maybe being true, it is true. 100%. That's a big difference from conjecture to postulate. And it still doesn't have proof. Right? So let's think about this. A conjecture and a postulate both have no proof. Right? I do not have to give you evidence for these things. However, a conjecture might not work, right? It's not 100%, but a postulate is 100%. We say that it's true. So what would be something that's a postulate? Well, something that's a postulate is I can add numbers. Right? Have you ever met someone that says, no, you can't add numbers? No, of course not. Because we all basically understand that if I have a number here and a number there, I can put them together. But if I ask you to prove to me that you can, well, it's like, how do I prove to you that I can? I just can do it, right? It's not something that I really have to sit there and explain to you that works. We all just kind of know that works, right? That would be a postulate. They're kind of so simple that they don't need a proof because we kind of just know that they work. That's a postulate. All right? Then we go to theorem. A theorem is a statement that has been proven to be true by accepted arguments. Key words here, proven to be true. This is not something that we just say is true because we think so. This is not something that we're like, kind of think it's true, but I haven't proved it yet, like conjecture. This is something that we said is 100% true because we actually did prove it. Okay? Think to when we did the Pythagorean theorem. Right? We haven't done a proof for that yet, but that is that is an example of a theorem because someone sat there and did the work to prove that it works for all right triangles. And we will do that later this year. Okay? So it's just a statement that someone had to prove will always work. It's not something that we saw immediately, because if you think about when we did it in class, did you guys walk in and go, oh, yeah, you just a squared plus b squared equals c squared? No, right? That is not something that we saw immediately. So it's not something like a postulate. It needed a little bit more work and more evidence for us to say, okay, yes, it does work all the time. So that's why it's a theorem. Okay? And then we have undefined term. It's a term that is not given a formal definition. So what's keyword there? Well, the keyword is not given a formal definition. So this is basically not a definition, right? There is no formal statement. The good thing about this is that there's only three things that are undefined terms in geometry. It's the point, it's a line, and it's a plane. Let me see if I can fit that. There we go. Point, line, and plane. Okay? We probably know what a point and a line is, right? A point is just a dot. Okay? Dot right here. And then a line is just, well, give me my pen back. There we go. Okay, there's a line, right? And it goes on forever. A plane is a little bit tougher to draw, but a plane is basically like a giant sheet of paper, right? So a line is 2D, and it goes forever. A plane is just like a 3D sheet of paper that goes on forever. Okay? Or I'm sorry. Take that back. A line is 1D, because they can only go one direction. And then a plane is 2D. Okay? So it's like a giant piece of paper, just like a little square, and it just kind of goes forever and ever and ever and ever. That's a plane. Alright? But you see how it doesn't have a formal definition? And that a line doesn't really have a formal definition. We kind of just draw it. And a point doesn't have a formal definition. We kind of just know what it is. That's because they're so simple that they're difficult to define. Right? We kind of just have used them, and we don't really give them a formal definition because it's just overkill. Right? We know what they are. We can draw them out. We can understand them. We do not need to sit here and make a formal definition. Okay? So, let's review before we try a question. Right? What are the differences? Keyword and definition is that I need to see the words formal. Right? Formal statement. That's it. That's all you need for a definition. A conjecture might be true. It's not 100%, right? It's more like an idea. I think this is happening, but I'm not sure. That's a conjecture, right? Another thing that could hint to you as a conjecture is that it's never been proven. So there's no proof, and it might be true. Those are your two hints for conjecture. A postulate's similar to that in that it has no proof. However, we do say it works all the time, right? It's something that we can look at, and I don't need to prove to you that it works, but we can both agree that it will work all the time, right? Something so simple that it doesn't need a proof, but will work all the time. A theorem is different from both of those in that it has a proof, okay? So the big difference for a theorem, if they say you're proving something, instantly a theorem, right? It's the only thing that takes a proof. Postulate and conjecture, they don't have proofs, right? The difference between those two is if it's true or not. Okay? And then undefined term, well, don't even think about what undefined term means. Just know that there's only 3 undefined terms. A point, a line, and a plane. Okay? If you can recognize those differences or key parts of those vocabulary words, this assignment's going to be very easy. And I'll show you why, because we're going to do one right now. One of your questions. So let's zoom this in. Let's get a pen tool here. Alright. Question A. Lamar is trying to prove a statement about all prime numbers that he believes is true, but no proof of the statement exists. Okay, so, few things. First thing I notice is this last statement, no proof. So I'm in between either a conjecture or what was the other one? Postulate. So it's either a conjecture or it's a postulate. Okay? Now a conjecture says that it might be true, and a postulate says that it has to be true. So if we read the first statement, it says, is trying to prove a statement about all prime numbers that he believes is true. He only believes it's true. Is it just accepted as true? No. Okay? If it was a postulate, we'd say, we know it's true, and so I don't need a proof, right? But because he only believes it's true, and he's still trying to prove, these are keywords for conjecture, right? It's not 100%, he just has like a gut feeling that it works. A gut feeling is not enough, right? We need everyone to agree. All right, so that would be a conjecture, and that's probably going to be the hardest one out of the ones we have so far, okay? But we use our keywords. It's only a belief, not accepted, and there's no proof. Those are 2 key things that hint to us that this will be a conjecture. Okay? Let's see. Chow proved a certain statement about polynomial functions. There's 1 keyword in there. Proved. What is the only thing that we learned that involves a proof? This would be a theorem. Okay? Nothing else cares about a proof except a theorem. So if you are proving something, you are coming up with a theorem. Alright, that was question B. Susan wrote a proof that included the following statement. The statement formally describes what a right triangle is. A right triangle is a triangle with 1 right angle. So what is that statement best described as? Well, what's the key word? The statement was formally described. Well, the only thing that mentioned a formal description was a definition. Okay? Pretty simple. Right? If we know those keywords, it's pretty simple. Alright, Rita wrote a proof that included a certain statement. The statement is not a definition, but is accepted as true without any proof. Let's look at that last sentence. Accepted as true without any proof. I mean, that is basically what we wrote down for postulate. Right? Both things were there. Accepted as true without any proof. Couldn't be any clearer that that's a postulate. Alright, and then lastly, I'm going to have to just kind of... Oh, okay, there we go. That'll work. Dan read a proof in a textbook that included a statement about points. Point is best described as... Well, remember, point is one of our 3 undefined terms. So the last one would just be undefined term. Alright? And there you go. That's your assignment. I want to say that you won't repeat them in a question. Right? So there's 5 parts, and you'll use all 5 vocabulary words. I want to say that you won't repeat. But if you get one and it looks like repeats, it might. I'm trying to remember from last year. And I want to say that people said it repeated. But I think they just made a mistake. But if it happens, don't be thrown off by it. It might repeat. Okay, just be aware. But I don't think it does. But alright, that's basically it. Look at those key differences between our 5 vocabulary words. Right? And that should really help you with this assignment. And the main goal is that you just get comfortable with these. Right? You know that a theorem needs a proof. You know that a postulate is accepted as true and doesn't have proof, and so on. Right? You're realizing what are like the key differences between these words. As long as you can get more comfortable with that, then you will do great on this assignment, and we've got our goal for the day. Okay? If you need anything from me, send me a Canvas message. Other than that, good luck and have a great day.